Okay, to start the biscuits, I'm going to use about 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, and then 3/4 of a stick of butter cut very small pieces to crumble up into the flour. And to that, then I'll add a little bit of milk just to make the sticky dough, probably 1/4 cup of milk, maybe at the 1/2 cup at the very most. And that's how I'll make the sticky dough, and then we'll continue to fold it out and make the biscuits. Okay, we're going to add our flour first to the bowl. Make sure you fluff up your flour because it's not packed very tight. You want it nice and light. Nice and light. 1 cup. You don't want your flour very packed down. That's enough to make plenty of biscuits. And then to that, I want to add a little bit of salt. Always good to have a little bit of salt for the flavor of your biscuits. And I'm going to be using the Himalayan pink salt. Maybe about a 1/2 teaspoon. Then I'm going to give that a little bit of fluff, a little bit of mix. Make sure it's nice and fluffy, like that. Stir up that salt. Mix everything together. Then I'm going to do about a regular teaspoonful of the baking powder. Make sure we get it to rise up. That's about good. We'll sprinkle that in there. Just a little bit more. Sprinkle that in. Give that a little bit of mix, a little bit of stir. Fix it in there like that. Okay. Very good. That should be good. And then the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to take my grater and I'm going to, I've got a very cold stick of butter out of the freezer to make it nice and hard. That way it will grate up very easy on the cheese grater so that I can have some small pieces, and that will help me crumple it up, mix it into the butter. So I'm going to take that cold butter and I'm just going to shred it up into the bowl of the flour. You can see the little pieces of butter here just fall off in there, and that's what we want to mix in with the butter. Okay, if you use the very cold butter, it doesn't melt up very quickly when you in the flour. If you use the warm butter, then it's going to melt too quick before you get your biscuits actually folded up. So we don't want to make our flour mushy. We want the cold butter to stay cold till it's all mixed up and formed into the biscuits. So that's what we're doing. And I want to try to use about 3/4 of the stick, half, at least more than half, because that butter is the fat that will help activate with the flour to make your biscuits rise up. So that's what you want. You need that fat from the butter, but it's not good to use margarine. So almost there. I'll come back to you in a second. Now I've got the rest of my butter ground up here. We're just gonna fold that into our dough. But now you don't want to be mixing it up very hard or very heavy. You just need to take it easy with your flour. You just want to kind of fold it in there, and because if you go mixing and stirring very heavy, what you're going to do is you're going to press down your flour. You're going to make it heavy, and then your biscuits will kind of be dry and hard, a little crumbly. So once we get that there, then you just kind of got to take your clean hands and crumble that butter up so that it's nice and mixed in with all of your flour. And that's the only way to do it. Get your clean hands in there so that everything is mixed up, folded in good. Little pieces of butter all through that flour. There you go. That'll do it. We want to make sure we keep our flour nice and fluffy. Don't pack it down. Don't make it hard. Then you'll have some nice soft biscuits. And they'll raise up good. Okay. Now that I've got my flour mixed in with my butter, if you have like maybe 3 scoops of flour, then you can use about 1 scoop of milk if you don't have the exact measurements there. And then you just want to kind of fold it in there. Give that a chance to soak into your flour. Maybe don't put it all in there at the same time. Save a little bit because you might not need it all. Depends on the weather, the humidity. But you just want to fold that together. Easy. Don't be very hard with it. Just let it kind of work in there. Because all you're looking for is a sticky dough, but you don't want to take the air out of your flour because you want that to be mixed in, but not packed up. So I'm just kind of lifting it up, folding it over. Looks like I still need a little bit of that milk because it's dry. So we're going to give that, probably the rest of that milk will work. Okay. Then we want to fold that in gently. Just incorporate that milk into that dough. And in a minute, you're going to have to get your hands dirty again. Just to kind of knead that dough there. Still feels a little dry today. We don't have much humidity in the air. So I think I'm going to have to add another little splash of milk. Doesn't take much. Just enough to get that dough a little wet and sticky. Because you want to be able to fold that over. Make your biscuits. Pat it down a little bit. I think we're just about there, but we still look a little dry. Oh, today's a dry day. Yeah, we have no humidity in our air today. So that will affect how much milk you need to put in there to get your dough a little wet and sticky. But don't overdo it. But if you do, you can add a little flour. You're going to put a little flour onto your cutting board anyway. So she's still a little dry. There you go. Like I said, depends on the weather. Some days you have a lot more humidity, and that flour will take up some of that humidity in the air. Now you can see she's starting to look a little wet and sticky, which is what you want. So I'm just trying to fold it over gently and not overwork it. The least amount you can disturb that, the better. But I still see a little of that dry flour. But we're going to knead that together here in just a minute. So I think we're going to be okay. We got a nice sticky dough here. And that's about what I want for my biscuit. So once I get that there. Oh yeah, she's sticky, sticking good to my fingers. And my spatula. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take it out of the bowl. Put it here on my cutting, actually not a cutting board, but a silicone mat. And then I'll put just a hair of flour down here so it doesn't, we'll put a little flour on here, make sure we don't stick too much. Okay, then I'll get this, turn this right out on my board there. There we go. Get all that sticky off of here. And now it's time to just kind of knead it together, just gently. Okay, I just want to take this, kind of fold it over. Now you fold it, you're going to get your, that's how you're going to get your nice layers of your biscuits. Just take that over, fold it. You get a little flour there because it's still sticky. So I put a little flour in there. Okay, then I'm going to fold it over, get a little more flour, keep it all together. And then fold it just like that. Get her out. Take it nice and easy though, nice and easy. You don't want to beat up your flour. Then I'm going to sprinkle just a little bit of flour there for whenever I fold it over. That'll help make those layers in that biscuit. That's what you want. Nice fluffy layers to your biscuit. Fold it out. Stretch it out a little bit more, but do it nice and easy. Like that. Just a hair more flour. Then we'll make a fold from the other direction. There we go. Nice and easy. Turn it over. Stretch it out. Stretch it out easy. Don't beat it up. Okay. Then I'm going to make another fold. That should be just about enough. Turn it over here. Get my biscuit. Now I'm going to stretch it out. Get it ready for my biscuit cutter. About a quarter-inch thick will make some nice biscuits, depending on how tall you want them. But that's about good for me. About like that. Nice and easy. Then take your biscuit cutter here and start cutting your rings for your biscuits. But when you cut down with your biscuit cutter or a glass or cup, don't twist it. That'll make the sides of your biscuit tight, and that's not what you want, because that'll keep them from rising up a little too much. See that? You got your nice biscuit there. Put that aside. Get my next biscuit cut straight down, and then just pull it out. You got a nice little biscuit. Next one, straight down. Remember, don't pull. If it doesn't come out, just separate your little ring right there. And then the next one, boom, there you go. Nice little biscuit rings. Set that aside. One more time. Boom. Nice little biscuit. Okay, set that aside. Then you can take your dough right here. Just gently work it. Fold it back together. Get you a nice little fold in there. Stretch it out. Get your next biscuit. Boom, there we go. One, what I got here, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2. Oh, I got 6 biscuits there. That's probably plenty, but since I got a little dough, I guess I'll try for number 7 here. Don't want to waste too much. Number 7. I don't think I can fit more than 7 biscuits in my pan. Maybe I can only fit 6. But if so, I'll just let it sit, and then I'll make the 2 extra. So we'll do them first. We're making biscuits without a oven. So this last biscuit, I'm just going to shape it up there a little bit. There we go. I'll be back with you in a minute. Okay, now that we've got our biscuits made up, I'm going to put them right in the pan. Now remember, no grease, no oil, no butter in the pan. Don't need it because you're just going to put this on a very low heat. Very low heat. And let them cook slowly on the stovetop. Let me see. Let me get these a little tighter. Get just one more biscuit there. If the sides touch, that just helps them raise up taller. So there we go. Put my last biscuit there in the middle. Because the butter that's in your dough will help your biscuits rise up and will keep them from sticking.